Uh, Sh- Chantel, I want to welcome you, Community Engagement with Farhan Ahmed. This platform is being a platform that really engaged elected officials and businesses and local community that we're dealing with. My background is last 3 decades. I worked, the county, city, state, and federal. All those folks who retired, I work with them, the young people as well. But I want to give you a platform to communicate, to focus on diversity in our community, of state and city. Reyholdsburg. We have a large diversity in that city. So I do want to welcome you, Prakash Prahan, Community Engagement Prahan. Welcome to my broadcast today, tonight.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Barhan, for having me here this evening. It is so important for people to realize who's going to represent them. Once again, my name is Shanette Strickland, and I currently serve as Reyholdsburg Council President. I was elected back in 2019, actually helping another woman, a Black woman, run for office and and back that happened in 2017. And so they people start asking me, "Hey, Shawnette, won't you consider running for City Council Ward 1?" And from that moment, I decided to really step up, and really be a voice for my community. And so I made history as being one of the first Black women ever elected to City Council in 2019. And so I'm proud of that work. I am originally from Cincinnati. I come from humble beginnings, and I've worked for everything that I have. And I had the opportunity to really at an early age is to give back to my community. I remember going to the polling polls, voting polls with my grandmother, and she worked the polls there. And I remember just looking up to her and how much she was so much involved with the community.
Yeah, it's amazing. The speaks in value. I remember people moving Ronesborough for new city, new people. Was leaving a lot of city gentrification. A lot of people left the city, the neighborhood that I actually used to live, and people was moving that side of town. Glad to see,
Mhm.
black women consuls. I remember you and Merritt was Lawson was actually was the consul at the
Yeah,
time, running that
that's
that
right.
that neighborhood, which is really proud to see woman of color to be able to lift much diversity in the city.
Yeah. And actually, Angie Jenkins was the first Black woman elected as council president here in Reynoldsburg. And then Meredith Lawson Rowe, our state rep now. And
Hmm.
now I am the third Black woman elected or appointed as council president to Reynoldsburg City. Yeah, it's always been a hope, a dream to give back to my community.
It's amazing. This is what we wanted: people who actually understand and the struggle and what people are dealing with. It changes the city and the growth we wanted. Can you talk about a little bit about your background? For you actually a little bit more so that way people know more Shanette Strickland.
Yeah. So my professional background, I have over 25 years in information technology and project management. I've built a strong foundation in overseeing systems, protecting data, and ensuring financial accountability. And those are key roles, I believe, and skills you need for to be the auditor. I also know how to manage relationships with different stakeholders and set those expectations often and early on. Lead teams across different departments and use technology to make city finances more transparent and accurate. Those will be my goals. Being as council president, I have to manage the meeting. I make sure that we have everything that we need on the agenda so we can make sound decisions to everything that we have to discuss during that council meeting. And then also working very hand in hand with the mayor. As I stated before, when I was elected as council, I chaired the Public Service and Transportation Committee. That also gave me the opportunity to be on our Joint Economic Development Board as treasurer for the city, and also serve as our treasurer on the tax incentive um, account for our city also. And so with those skills, that have led me to this, led me to this point to run for city auditor.
Wow, it shows strong, educated Black women also have the skills to run to make it impact our city. It's just amazing how somebody for you had that large experience with the city council budget improving, building roads and things, and it's just amazing how this job will be much easier for you because you're already having lifting up building City of Rosberg.
Yeah, I remember early on, again, just elected, just sworn in, and early on in 2020, being on the finance committee allowed me to really have a deeper dive and understanding of what the finances were for Reynoldsburg at that time. And no one was actually questioning about the YMCA. That was one of the largest projects that Reynoldsburg had did in many years. And so I started asking these questions regarding, we went over budget, $1.3 million, not just once, but twice. Regarding the YMCA, and no one was talking about it. And it wasn't until I started asking those questions that we could really have some true um, clarity, some understanding, and then put some processes in place to make sure that did not happen again. And so, it takes someone that's going to be curious enough, be bold enough, and then also work together to making sure that things get done in a correct manner.
It's a funny, sometimes you hear people say like, oh, the person doesn't have qualified, but somebody have 20 plus years qualification, has MBA, have done so much lifting up $1.3 million budgets and dealing with and lifting up and helping a city. It's amazing. Can you talk about, because I want to make sure people know this is it's not being handed out for you. It's somebody who actually came from a strong background.
Yes. So I went to college. My high school year, my senior year, I was about to graduate, and I never forget having a conversation with one of my counselor. And she said, Shawnette, have you ever thought about going to college? And I was like, no, no one has ever talked to me about going to college. Neither my parents have went to college. And so, it was kind of new to me, And she said, well, you're really good in science and math. And I said, yeah, I'm pretty good with that. And she said, well, I think you should go to Central State. They have a upper bound program, and they end up paying for me to go during the summertime. And so I enrolled during the that fall of '94, that spring of '94 up to Central State, and I attended in that fall of '94, majoring in manufacturing engineering. As people know, during that time, Central State was going through some financial heartaches. And so they had to cancel my classes because, in my mind, I was determined to graduate in 4 to 5 years, because in manufacturing engineering is really a difficult degree to earn. But I was just determined. And so they canceled my classes. I end up going to ITT, earning associates in electronic engineering, going off to DeVry, earning my bachelor's in technical management, and then also my master's in business administration from Franklin University. And so I'm very proud with my education and the hard work that it took for me to get here, because I've heard in the past, when it comes to my opponent and some of his friends, that she's not qualified. And as I stated before, that, having my education background, having my qualification with my experience, passing more legislation than anyone has done on city council, sitting as treasurer for the city, give me the opportunity and the right to, go forward and run to be Reynoldsburg next city auditor.
Wow, it's I'm glad you cleared it out because that's a very powerful hard road you came from the background, and it shows dedication, determination that you have to make a change people's lives every day in Rhodesburg. That is a very powerful. And also, I want to just talk about what inspired you to run the audit office. Could you talk about more from making transition from city council to
Yeah.
city audit?
Yeah, I believe that again, going to with my education background, with my skill sets, my willingness to work with the mayor, being able to work with council also uh, will give me that opportunity to bridge that gap. Right now, that's not a really, it could be a better working relationship, I would say. I want to be able to get up in front of council and let them know with all the projects that Reynoldsburg is having, let them know that, hey, we're on budget, or we need to plan out these timelines to make sound decisions when it comes to being fiscally responsible for the city of Reynoldsburg and also our residents. Because again, I've had that skills, that knowledge and also experience. It really have led me to this moment to run to be Reynoldsburg next city auditor.
Wow, it's amazing, and that if you talk about more about the other office day to day job, can you talk about the day to day job and how
Yeah.
it should be? Because a lot of people don't, a lot of times they don't understand how the audit's impacting the city to move to becoming stronger.
Yeah, so the city auditor is really the chief financial officer for the city. It's the person who makes sure that every taxpayer dollar is managed wisely and responsibly. It also makes sure that the finances are transparent, is accurate, and used in a way that truly benefits all residents in Reynoldsburg. The auditor oversees everything from payroll to making sure that the bills are being paid on time, the budget, financial reports, making sure that we are following all local and also state laws. It's very important that we do that. In short, I just want to make sure that every dollar is being tracked, accounted for, and spent with integrity, and making sure that our residents are really aware about where their taxpayer money is going.
Hmm. That is very highly transparency, now, which is really residents need to know that a lot of residents have no clue, which is really strong foundation that you have. Also, that office, it shows that you're ready. You really ready. They want to make an impact, a resident of Runningsburg as well.
Thank you.
And also another question I did want to ask you about collaboration with
Mhm.
cross-department communications. Auditor's office must be work with the city council, the mayor's office, various department, and external auditors as well. How will you foster effective collaboration with maintaining independence oversight role of the auditor of
Yeah,
this
so
office? Yeah.
you definitely have to have internal controls, right?
Hmm.
Making sure that everybody is aware of the processes, There's no clear processes right now. And so that would
Hmm.
be one of my goals that I would love to do is just making sure that we are meeting frequently with the different departments. Everybody understand what's going in, what's going out. If they have other projects that they're working on, understanding what money was budgeted and allocated and making sure that they are staying on track. There's
Hmm.
are a few things that we need to do to improve that, but I believe it really starts with communication, having often meetings with the different stakeholders, the different departments, the mayor, and being really fiscally responsible and letting people know what the true numbers are. So we're not guessing, right? It's
Yes.
coming up now where we have in budget time. And during our city council meeting here just recently, there's a lot of things that's going on in the auditor's office with staff and not being able to really understand what the budget may look like. And so we have some concerns. And so, by asking those questions and making sure the auditor has a clear direction on the financial responsibility of that office and being able to give that information to council and also ultimately being able to answer clearly to the taxpayers. That's who we should be answering to.
Yeah, I mean that's very powerful because there's supposed to be very clean line of communication across the board. The council, the mayor, and the public and residents. This really
Yeah,
shows you have a capable for you. You have that passion to be transparent for everybody. That then they will
that's
serving
right.
the residents' best interest. Which is a very powerful. Um, the question I'm going to ask you: community engagement and responsiveness. Residents often feel disconnected from how
Mhm.
their tax dollar be used, and that's a lot of time people question those questions. What opportunity will you create to public input or feedback on the city's finance?
Yeah, one of the things that I would love to do when we talk about modernizing our systems, the three things that I'm running on: accountability, transparency, and also modernizing our systems. Our systems are old. Our current staff really don't have a good handle on how to do that, to use the platform that they currently use. I want, because of my background in IT, I want to modernize our system. By modernizing our system, making sure that we have a platform that all departments will be able to use effectively and also be able to put in good information so you can spit out good information, as we say in the IT world. So that's one thing that I would like to do. With that, also, when we talk about the public, I would love to start a platform called Online Checkbook. This has been around since 2019. This will give our residents an opportunity to know what type of projects we're working on, what type of where our biggest taxpayer dollars are going to these different projects, how our money is being spent. And so it gives them really an insight of the financial oversight of the city. And so this is something that is free. It's nothing that will be charged to the residents. However, I'm just not clear why we're not doing it now, right? The
Hmm.
city auditor's office, again, you are responsible to making sure that we have clear, concise information and easy for our residents to be able to understand. They shouldn't have to have a document that's 50 pages long. No one's going to take the time out to
Yeah.
look through that and really understand it, So why couldn't we have a two-pager document, right? And then it's a document, a platform that residents will have access to understand what type of projects we're working on and exactly where every dollar is being accounted for within the city of Reynoldsburg. So that would be one of my goals, to modernize these systems, to making sure that our residents are aware of what's going on in our city.
Wow. It's amazing how residents will appreciate it. Somebody who are coming technology side of understanding the technology system. And today's technology is, you have to catch up, and really, in
Yeah.
somebody who's trying to transparency in technology, modernization, and IT background and building infrastructure, which really you bring in huge new opportunity in Reyholdsburg, which is really nice. Can you talk about more technology and modernization for your IT background, how you leverage technology in others' office? You talk about some of them. Can you
Yeah.
more?
Yeah, so I have managed different platforms before. Like I said, from my IT perspective, being a program manager, your goal is really to get things done. So, really meaning working with a vendor, doing a vendor selection, hosting a meeting where everybody come together. They understand, do a SWOT analysis, and they understand what the end goal is. Again, having these different departments weigh in of what they would like to see, because every department may be a little bit different, but we need to be able to customize a system that's going to work for everyone, right? And so having that technology background, understanding what type of questions to ask different vendors regarding on our old system, how will we be able to migrate to the new system? What would that look like? Being able to ask those kind of questions. What type of support will we have once the system is up and running? Is there any videos that the vendor will put together, 2 or 3 minute videos that new people, as they are being hired in that department, would they be able to watch to be easily be able to learn how to work the system? So those are type of questions that I will ask. And then again, having the input from the different stakeholders will be very crucial to understanding how to build a good system for Reynoldsburg. Other communities may be using something similar, but we need to make sure that we have the best platform that's going to be suitable for the different departments, including also our police department. What I know right now, our police department has to bring a paper document over to the auditor's office for them to process their paychecks. That doesn't make sense to me. Why can't we automate something?
Mm,
And so having those clear directions, having a good team around me, and then getting the buy-in from everyone else to making sure that we are going to go with a platform that's going to be more flexible, easier for our end users to be able to use.
yeah, that's amazing. If somebody has actually have that experience for a long, long time, understands how these things work. The appreciated residents of Russell really will appreciate. Um, Another question I want to ask is, equity and inclusion have been important to you and all of us, and everybody, every city and state should be in your public service. How will you incorporate those values into the artist's office, and how it works? Because this is something in my heart is people should be understanding, and really, it's diverse in the city that you
That's
represent.
right.
Can you talk about
Yeah.
for that portion? Equity and
Yes.
inclusion have been important to you, and in your public service, how will you incorporate those values on your artist office being elected?
Yeah. Um, you know, Again, community engagement, inclusion is very important to me. And also just making sure that people understand that I am here for them, right? I want residents to really understand where their tax dollars are going. So I plan to host Know Your City finances sessions and
Hmm.
going to where the people are, right? And share ideas, come back with new ideas once we have those conversations. But you have to be out in the community. And right now, the auditor is just not in the community. When I say going out to the community, going to our senior citizen building, going to our YMCA, going to even our schools. How can we get our schools involved, right? And that's something that I plan on doing. Again, know your city finances, having different sessions, and have share easy to read budget summaries in multiple languages, not just in English, right? Because our city is so diverse. I want to make sure that I'm reaching every neighborhood, especially those that haven't always been included in these financial decisions. But it really starts with going to where the people are. And that's what I do as council president, and that's what I would do as Reynoldsburg next city auditor.
Wow, it's you walk. I think show is really reaching out across the aisle, reaching out people, understanding in where they are, their situation, the issues they deal with, the small businesses or individual or at school or seniors. It's really I really want to make sure that residents of Rosebrook to know somebody's advocating for them. To come out, not like a elected office sitting there, don't have no interact whatsoever in his city. It's really hurting people, small businesses in the community. And yeah.
Yeah, when I was elected on city as city council, I introduced the minority veterans um, women small business grant. We are in going into our fourth year, where our small businesses will be able to apply for a grant up to $10,000. And it's a reimbursable grant. So they pay for the something that need to be fixed or replaced, and then they will show their receipts to the during the application process because there is an entire process that they have to go through. But we have somebody that's there to kind of work with them if they have any questions. But that was very important to me to making sure that the city, the residents, business owners here in Reynoldsburg know how important they are to the community, how important they are to me, and how important I am advocating for them. I would do that same advocate, be advocating for them as the next city auditor to making sure that we have opportunities where we can help our small businesses, right? And that means really working with the city council and working with the mayor to making sure that we have money that's budget there, right? Even though the city auditor really doesn't have any control, but you have some type of influence to making sure some of those programs still be intact to helping our residents, helping our small businesses. And again, that's what I plan on doing. And being in the community, you have to go to where the people are. People are not going to come to you. They're not coming to City Hall. And so being a face as the city auditor, I will continue that work. A lot of people see me in the grocery store, see me at different community events. And so that's in my DNA. And so I will continue, being out in the community like I always do now.
That's very powerful. You have somebody who raising sons in the district, somebody who live in the family, you're part of the family, the community. It really shows how deep you care about bucket books, people's really what they're going through. Really, a lot of people don't understand, what people are going through a lot of times. They're hurting, they're financial, they're dealing with so much today's climate as well. But I really appreciate you raising your kids in the district itself, and also having that conversation where people are. A lot of people assuming everybody has to come to the council, the city council. A lot of people don't have
Mhm.
that luxury,
That's
and,
right.
and I'm glad you really are reaching the community. And every day I see you all the time, and there in the community and talking to people. Really, that's what we need. We need somebody who actually people's person who cares about the residents of Runningsburg,
Yeah.
and we really appreciate for you for that reason because I've seen you, watch you actually having the dialogue with the communities and reaching out because that's what we need. We need you, the icon of the seat out of the office, to go senior homes, schools, the church, and the places, and small businesses, and with the grocery people dealing with, and today's climate is not an easy climate. With people dealing with
Yeah.
fear, anxiety, and people being lost today's food. For example, SNAP program being cut. A county,
Oh,
you
yeah.
see that people hurting, people dealing with the family, dealing with people who are disabled families in the community. We have people who are dealing with some type of health issues, and it's a really people in hurt. You know,
Yeah.
what's your message on those SNAP also folks that
Oh,
are really living in your neighborhood as well, dealing with today?
yeah. A lady reached out, one of my residents here, neighbors reached out, sent me an email asking me to help coordinate um, a food drive for our residents here in Reynoldsburg. Um, what's going on in DC on the federal level, what's going on here in the state of Ohio, in Franklin County, families are hurting. Families are going to hurt kids. The working mom, the working dad is going to be hurting because the lack um, of the Republicans. And I'm gonna call it as it is. Um, when we talk about taking money out of a kid's mouth, family mouth, um, that's heartbreaking. I understand that the state house representative on the Democratic side end up trying to put an amendment through to include, um, you know, going into the rainy day fund, and it was denied. And then we just saw here recently that Governor DeWine did, sign a signed 25 million into helping SNAP families. Um, but we need to do something more, right? I believe that the Republicans and Democrats, we need to find a way that we can support everyday residents to making
Hmm.
sure that we are not in a clutch where we are not providing. I have family members that's on SNAP that work 9 to 5. That is, raising a niece, that autistic niece, that's struggling right now. And if they take away the SNAP benefits, you know, someone's going to have to step in. I'm gonna have to step in to help my family member to making sure that they are taken care of. So we're talking about real people, real lives of this being impacted, and people want to be selfish and not make the right decisions when it comes to taking care of our family. And I'm really speaking about what's going on at the federal level. And thank you, to DeWine for making that decision. But we still need to understand what that 25 million, who is going to help. Is it going to help all residents, or is it going to just only help a few?
Yep, that's very powerful because we see today's people struggling, real deep struggling across the board. And we can't slide and blink in our eyes and say, hey, somebody else will do that. It's sad to see people are really hurt. you know, we hope that legislation is in the party, Republican Party, or the federal and state. They should look at people's, what the community going through. It's really hurting. But another final question we have: if elected, you become Chantel Auditor Reyholdsburg. What would your top priorities? Just naming one or two, and how you measure those progress and communication, those in the public, especially people are really interesting to see you and this residents that really wants hungry. They want to see somebody lifting up the community in general, everybody.
Yeah, you know, we are a couple of days out from November the 4th, and I'm hoping that people understand that every vote matters. My goal as being the next Reynoldsburg City Auditor, my first year, my priorities are very clear. I want to strengthen our internal controls and compliances, launch a public financial transparency dashboard, again called the Ohio Online Checkbook, modernize our systems, making sure payroll is done in appropriate way, and accounting systems and improve efficiencies. Those are my goals my first year. Also, I like to do a comprehensive study to determine whether it would even be feasible to bring tax collection in-house. Right now, we pay a company called Rita that does our taxes for us. I want to bring that in-house. However, I need to make sure that I have a clear understanding of what that really means, weighing the pros and the cons, what does the cost, staffing, technology, and what the customer service would impact. So my first year, those are my goals, to making sure that we move in a way that's going to be transparent, keeping our residents up to date on our fiscal responsibility at the city auditor's office. A long-term goal, when we talk about the next 4 or 5 years, I see the auditor's office being modernized, right? Being transparent, having the trust of our residents. I want this to be a place where people know technology can really work in a great way. And it's really going to count for the accountability and clear communication, to making our city finances much easier for everyone to understand and access. So that's kind of my goals once I become city auditor, and they are really achievable goals. But again, we need the people to come out and vote. I need people to understand that every vote counts. We are the closest to the problem. We are able to make sure that we solve the issues. And I know Rita is one of those issues that our residents are struggling with when they first moved to Reyholdsburg. And so I want to see what we can do to improve that process and even think about trying to bring it in-house.
Wow, amazing! It's really amazing. With really experience speaks itself because that you have 25 years of people's personnel stuff, small businesses, individual business, the community. People need you, somebody actually like you, actually for you, or the one dedicated, determined in the city, Ronesboro. People look at you. Who's going to be the final what you want to be asking community in Ronesboro message for you because I know last few days on voting is crucial, and people are going voting, and we want people to make sure that they really see you shining and becoming somebody they dream about because the people are hungry for somebody to impact their day-to-day life.
Yeah, and I would tell people that it just takes some ordinary people to do some extraordinary people, ordinary people to do some extraordinary things. There's nothing special about me. I decided to do the work for the people. I work for the people. I put people first when it comes to making decisions. I do have the experience. I do have the educational background to be the Reynoldsburg next city auditor. My only ask is please consider Shanette Strickland to be your next Reynoldsburg city auditor. Vote early before the November the 4th. And make sure that your family, your friends get out and vote. Every election matters. Every election matters. And people need to understand we are in a time right now that our democracy is being challenged and we need to speak up. There were many people that died for us to vote. And so we cannot let them down. We have to show the next generation how important it is to vote because it does matter. And even though you don't think it does, again, being on council now, it really talks about your education, for your kids, your friends' kids. When we talk about roads, your garbage, it matters. So vote.
Thank you, Shanette, for out of the office, Lawrenceburg. Please, and each and everybody watching the community at large, diverse in the Lawrenceburg, please vote Shanette Strickland. As you see, she's a somebody dedicated to Tillman as a Somali American engagement group who actually focused last 20, 25 years endorse her, for her dedication and determination that makes it a lifting up generation to come in. And please, you vote, early vote last few days, and don't wait last Tuesday. Just vote. Early vote is open, Morris Road, 1700 Morris Road. Please make sure that we want her to be elected this other office. She's a somebody to determine. Our political action group supported her, and many, many generations support her. We appreciate you coming and Chantel for our broadcast, and we'll continue to support you. And if you're living Reyholdsburg, please make sure you're giving your vote for this amazing person that has done so much on the city and did so much on people's personalities. You see her conversation. We appreciate her livelihood of changing and impacting diversity as well, but everybody across the board, and that's what we needed. Somebody who cares people to be doing the job for the people. People first, that's the key. So thank you for coming our podcast. Shante, we appreciate you. Any last word you're going to say before we close?
Yeah, thank you, Burhan, for inviting me to spend this evening with you to just get out my message on why I am the best candidate to be Reynoldsburg City Auditor. So thank you so much.
Thank you for all. We appreciate it, each and everybody.